All right, how's everybody doing today? We got tons of people in the chat. I got to do some shout outs here. Pull up some of our regulars here. Mr. Mickow and Steve. I see Nemo. Hey, the one-legged wonder tripod is here watching. I don't know if he's watching in the house or in his garage. I see we got Jerry from 3DHP in here. And Mr. Light Source is also here, and I think Krista's lurking as well. So today we actually have a special guest with us. We have, well, two special guests. Emerson's going to be kind of a semi-regular when he can make it. So we have Tor, who you guys all know, and we have Mr. Emerson. And today's special guest is Mr. Mike from 3DPrintCornwall, and I'll put him up here. He runs a company over in the UK. They do 3D printing, 3D scanning, and also they do consulting. So if you're a business that's looking for advice on proper machines to get and just 3D printing in general, you guys can go ahead and hit him up. His website is 3dpc.org. And I also put a link in the video description. So, Michael, how are you doing today?
Hi, Tim. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you.
So yeah, we're all going to be hanging out. Mike brings a lot of business background into 3D printing. So, you know, we are obviously a business, but he has a lot of experience with actual like corporate dealings with machines and stuff. So he has a lot different perspective on the printers, how they work, how they should be employed, that kind of stuff versus what most of us are used to dealing with them in more of the consumer or prosumer sense. So just to get a nice perspective, and Mike, go ahead, feel free to plug whatever you want on here. I like having other people on the streams too. So, share our platform. I've known Mike for quite a while. And what, so, 5-6 years?
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that, Tim. Yeah, we're a UK business. We do consultancy, we do 3D printing, we do scanning, and then we help a lot of businesses onboard 3D printing. So we know from the pitfalls of when you're first buying a 3D printer to when you're employing or deploying that inside your business, actually, you want to do a really good job. So what we do is we help businesses achieve over a longer period of time rather than just having a short nightmare that they don't use ever again. So it's, by using our experience with 3D printers, just like a lot of the viewers have, that we apply that into businesses locally to then provide services for them. So.
Yeah, no, it's and that's something Mike's actually going to be helping us out on our back end of things, trying to scale up our side of the more commercial and business side of things. So that is something we do want to venture into more. We've kind of been doing it, and we will, do stuff one-off, but when I have it done in a more official capacity, Okay, so typically we start the show as kind of introduction. I'm trying to think if we have any company updates here. I will be doing a stream at some point this weekend. I don't know if you guys can see the Big Tree Tech Pad 7 here, along with an Easy Plug, one of our Easy Cams. I'm going to be putting that on the Solval SVO5. And before we put that on there, we're going to be putting the Easy Board V2 in there, which is a Clipper compatible board. And we're also going to be getting it up and running with a Easy ABL on there, get rid of that little CR touch that likes to click clack about. And then we're going to convert it to Clipper, and we're going to be moving the company. Like I said, this year we're going to be focusing more on Clipper stuff. And I'll probably have Tor and Emerson on during that stream, because both of them have spent way more time with Clipper than I have. I think most of Emerson's printers are running Clipper, if not all of them.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah. So I don't think of any ones that other than like your resin printers that run Clipper. So yeah, so I'm trying to think of, so we did launch our X1 and P1 hot ends. So if you guys are looking for hot ends for the Bamboo X1 and the P1, we do have hot ends that come with, right now, they come with a 0.4 hardened steel nozzle, and we will be offering 0.4, 0.6, and 0.8 nozzles for them. And the nice thing about that is you can do a one-handed nozzle change with the new design of the hot end. You don't have to replace the entire hot end. You can just change your nozzle, which is a big benefit. Tor has been testing it for a while now. I'm putting it in my X1 next week. I've actually been running jobs on our X1. We have that all modified. We have that all locked down is the word I was looking for. So it's in LAN only mode with no internet access. It's blocked in my firewall. So it's the only way I'll run those machines. They're all isolated. So that's something I'd be really interested too, because I know you've deployed some Bamboos in some businesses, correct?
Yeah. So yeah, but obviously there's a lot of things online about how to be cautious about the whole filtering of the Bamboo sort of cloud software. So we've been, very open with our clients about that. But a lot of the corporate customers that we're sort of swapping these in for are machines like Ultimakers and things like that. So, and I probably don't have to speak firsthand of the speed difference in between
Oh
some
God,
of
yeah.
these machines. So it's for a business that's looking for an ROI, it's a fairly easy. It's fairly easy to look past some of the Bamboo online stuff. The new X1E was a big part of that actually, because
Yeah, I did see that.
It gave businesses a little bit of offline capability, which when I'm installing in a business, actually, it's one of their first questions: is my data going back to China?
Okay.
So having the printers run on offline capacity inside those businesses has been quite important. Yeah. So the X1E was a big step that Bamboo did, and actually was one of the trigger points. Yeah.
The good thing I can report is still, because I've been running just print jobs of just stuff that if it did get compromised, we don't care. And most of your home users that are printing stuff, they download it from the internet. They're not going to care if their models get leaked because they're already online. But we do print jobs for companies and stuff, and we've been asked to, like, are we using cloud stuff for it? And like for us, if somebody sends us a file, the file goes right from them to my server here in our basement here in our server X, where we have our big server, and then it stays local on network. We don't even store the G-code files on like OneDrive or anything. We don't store the models on OneDrive or anything, or any sort of cloud services. It's literally all local. So comes over HTTPS from our customers to us into our help desk system, and then it stays locally on our network. It is a big thing. And like I said, the people printing the dragons, that they're selling their Etsy shops or TikTok or whatever, they don't care. But you get into business customers, and especially us, where we're printing designs for products that we sell. I don't want those getting out. I don't want to see my LCD housings that we've spent, tons of hours on showing up on AliExpress. You know what I mean? And that is a very real concern for any cloud printer.
The governments are actually aware of it as well. We've got a few like sort of aerospace, oil and gas customers, and they were notified by like a central body from the UK government about certain printers that could potentially give a feedback loop to other territories. So they are aware of it just as much as we are aware of it. Whether or not it's a thing or not, I suppose you know maybe a little bit more about that, Tim. But businesses will see a headline in the newspaper and then they'll pick that up. They won't actually necessarily look too deep to find out that it's not relaying any information. But actually, because they involved the bamboo, involved the reseller and as a distributor to distribute the X1E, actually it gives someone local you could moan at or go to for that advice inside that country, whether it be so someone was stocking that machine specifically to sell to a corporate environment, which was really important actually for the businesses to start trusting in the machine. But yeah, the reason why that they're such a great machine actually to put in these corporate setups is it works for the client straight away. Actually,
they're very easy to use. I will say, after, like, I know everybody watching here, I had some initial issues with my X1C, but after a firmware update, a factory reset, and recalibrating it, basically updating and then treating it, resetting it back to out of the box conditions and starting over, it's just been running, which is great. And that's it takes a lot to get like these cheaper machines to that point where they can just run. We're really good at doing it, but customers don't want to do that.
And we got a lot of patience,
especially business.
Yeah, and these guys are getting paid 30, 40, 50,000 pound a year, and if their boss sees them hanging over a machine 5 days a week and it not producing anything, then actually, what's that machine costing you? It's not just £1,000. It's not just £300. It's probably a lot more than that, actually. So again, another reason why, like, the sort of service, and there's lots of people out there that could probably do a similar sort of service to what we do for local companies, and sort of move into that position where all the knowledge that you've picked up in your time in the 3D printing industry is actually extremely costly for companies to deploy themselves. If they wanted to employ someone like us inside this 3D printing industry, no one in a position that's making £5,000 to £6,000 a month on 3D prints is going to sell themselves for £2,000 a month to a company and improve their setup. I mean, it's a similar sort of thing. Why would you jump out of your own business and go work for someone to help them if you can earn much more on your own using your own knowledge and information? So actually having your own business and then selling some of your knowledge and information to businesses which have none, and then put them on service fees has actually been, it's been a big success.
And the thing is too, like, if you set up, like, from a business standpoint, even a consumer standpoint, but more we're going to talk more of a business standpoint this stream. The main thing is, if you get them set up with hardware that works correctly, there will be that initial learning curve of getting them through using the software, how to operate the machine. And then hopefully at that point, if the machine works, they shouldn't need somebody dedicated to knowing how these machines work and how to troubleshoot them, because the machine itself is more user oriented, right? So, if whereas like the bamboo, like, I've been running prints back to back to back on it. And once I had initial trouble with it, but once I reset or recalibrated it, it's been great. And I'm sure at some point it'll have problems again because everything is going to wear out. But for the most part, and the general feedback I got from most people is that they do just work, but anything's going to need maintenance. And eventually, hopefully, they'll come back to you that sold them the machine, or consulted on them. And then you get, more recurring revenue than there. But the whole thing is, the point of what I'm circling back to is, they shouldn't need, for only like a couple of machines, unless they're running a farm, they shouldn't need somebody on staff that's dedicated to 3D printing. So it doesn't make sense to hire somebody that all they do is printing and that's their niche. It's kind of like the same thing, that, like, you're kind of like an MSP for 3D printing. I don't know if you have MSPs over there. Do you know what that stands for?
Yeah,
kind of an IT term.
Exactly. One of my contracts that we have, all we do is on 2 hours a week, is we sit on the wall inside an office for a company in Miami, and all they do is ask us questions.
Yeah.
2 hours a week. So those 2 hours a week with those 5 people in that design office are invaluable. They get to, over the week, they write on a little notepad all the questions that they want to ask, and in 2 hours, I get bombarded with questions for 2 hours, and then they go away, and then they come up with more questions for the next next 2 hours next week. Actually, that's hugely important. They don't have to go through Facebook and filter through hundreds of different opinions, and there's lots of different opinions on Facebook. So you don't have to go through that and troll yourself through those sort of things.
Oh, well, the Facebook groups and even Reddit, they're horrible to try to find help.
Yeah.
You don't know what's help. I think you're not sure what's help. I think a lot of people are very kind-minded. Some people aren't on those groups, but but you can get led astray very quickly, and actually chase a rabbit down a hole and go down the wrong hole, and then, well, you've made lots of modifications for no reason, so
yeah.
It can be tricky. We try to steer our customers away from using Facebook platforms for their 3D printing customers. Actually, for the employees, it can be quite confusing. It can lead you away from a message that you're trying to portray. But having someone that they can ask those questions to, that they wanted to put in those groups, but maybe felt a little bit too put off. Yeah.
Oh, your connection's
I think as well for me, it maybe leads.
Hang on 1 second, Mike. Your connection's getting choppy. Let's let it catch up. There's 5 whole pixels.
Cornish.
It's having, the packets are having trouble getting across the pond. Okay. I think it looks like it's catching up. You're getting clear again. Yeah.
Yeah. And I suppose, I suppose that leads us back to, the conversation we've had more recently about the profit margins in 3D printers as well, Tim. And actually, the best part of being a consultancy with those types of things is I don't have to offer that 3D printer direct to the client. And actually, we work with some resellers in the UK and various different enterprises that we know and trust to source those 3D printers, because when you're selecting a 3D printer for someone based on what they need, there shouldn't really be the cross section of margin or a profit margin when selling that printer. You kind of want the 3D printer for someone because it's going to meet their needs and it's going to make them more money in the long run. What we found, and I'm sure lots of people have experienced this themselves, is being sold a goose or sold a printer that you didn't really need and didn't really suit your applicational needs, and actually you ended up wasting a lot of the time or a lot of your own personal time or energy or business energy or your staff's energy into something which isn't suitable for your business. So having someone recommend a machine to you not based on profit margin as an applicational engineer would only be beneficial to the client, and then put them in contact with, make them successful straight away. They haven't had failure, but where they've been successful, you're also putting them in contact down the line with other trades, other businesses like yourself, where they can use to procure those products. And if they fail straight away and they give up, if that company gives up on 3D printing and decides that it's not for them.
And that's something that we see even in the consumer space, where they get frustrated with the basic machines not working, and then they just swear off 3D printing in general.
Yeah, and then they never find those TH3D build plates that they can buy, which makes their life a little bit easier, or they don't find that special filament that they can buy from a really nice chap down the road who will tell them exactly how to use it in their 3D printer. They won't find all those people. So actually, that intersection for businesses come into 3D printing is hugely important. I don't think that we value that enough. As applicational engineers, we let resellers and distributors sell printers to our clients based on profit margin, and then people like us are brought in to fix that. Actually, people like us can cater for that at the start. It just needs to be roadmapped for other people to do similar to what we've done, and approaching businesses and be that support that they need, instead of having them go through chains and chains of support tickets and
so
things that is time and money.
So obviously, like, you know, the most of the printers you're selling, if not all of them, they have support from the manufacturer. How often, let's say somebody has an issue with like one of the bamboo machines that you guys advise them on, how often do they go to the manufacturer versus just paying you for your time to his system instead? Because you're obviously going to be a lot faster and a lot more responsive than they are.
So yeah, and the manufacturers love us in that sense because we will take that first sort of cushion of hit that customer has, whether they have an issue or whether they need help. Actually, you probably know yourself that consumers can be quite harsh with the manufacturer when they've got a sort of support ticket. But actually, we found that because you've built up a rapport with that client over a period of time, they're less willing to pick up the phone and shout your head off for something that probably isn't your fault, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you call on the tour, you know as well as I do, when you're doing support tickets and you're trying to help someone. We used to do it for box.co.uk. There may be some
Yep, I
people
remember
watching
that.
in the UK that
With the Creality printers. And
oh my god, right?
And what was the other one that began with CreateBot? Is that it? CreateBot?
I'd like to say this now as well. I see people on these Facebook groups that I have personal information and seen you trying to laser level beds with printers, and then I see you on Facebook trolling someone about a hot end. Stop, right? if there was information, if that information act wasn't there, I would fry you so hard, right? Because don't be a big head, right? When 2 years ago you were using a labor level to level your printer, right? So I think everyone needs to be a little bit more chill when on these Facebook groups, right? Because everyone was new once, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think that, you know, everyone has experienced that, you know, and when you're doing these support tickets and you're trying to assist someone, it can get quite one-sided, and you're trying to help someone, and all they're trying to do is blow the situation up worse than it ever could be.
Yeah.
But having that conversation with someone when they're contracted to pay you is a lot different, actually.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
Pleasant. It's a lot more pleasant. So the support side, and actually for anyone in support anywhere, it can be better. Yeah, as in support. It can be better. It can be, and I don't know how hard it is. The look on Tor's face explains almost everything.
Exactly.
You know, that is true. You know, you do get a lot of grief, but is that your grief or is it the manufacturer's grief? Well, you know, you're only there to help them.
So it's a little bit. It's a little bit of both with us. I guess my camera just stopped doing its thing. Hang on.
Yeah, I can.
Is my audio still working?
Yeah, your audio is still working.
No, I've seen engineers in universities. I've seen engineers in universities rock up with a laser level trying to level the CR10.
Bubble. I see bubble levels all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's a new tool.
Bubble level works best.
They think, well, someone said level my bed, and they've been leveling things with a spirit level for 40 years, so it kind of makes sense. So, maybe some people need to chill out a little bit more. But the whole Facebook group, again, going back to that, is where you can get some harsh comments.
Oh yeah, I mean, I even see and this isn't any of them. So I just picked up a pinball machine a couple weeks ago, and I joined this small group. It was like 500 people for these two machines that are very similar from the same manufacturer. There's a Black Hole and Haunted House. They're both the same series. It's like they're sister machines to each other. They share a lot of parts and stuff. So I join in, and I'm having this weird issue. I have an aftermarket board. And because the OEM board didn't work, the guy bought it from put an aftermarket one in, and the knocker's going off when it shouldn't be going off. So all I posted was, hey, does anybody I've got this machine, I got the Black Hole with this board in it. And sometimes when the score's counting up, and it's at the exact interval as the score's counting up, 100, 100, 100, knock, knock, knock. It's not supposed to make the knock noise. I said, has anybody experience this is a software bug or whatever, like, but it's just a general question asking. And there's like some guys just leaving just like this shitty comment is like, oh, this is some idiot that overpaid for a machine that doesn't know how to troubleshoot it. And it's like, what? Like, and he's like, just joined the group and is like, and I see him like shitting on everybody else's posts. Like even guys just showing off, like they just got done restoring a machine. And they're just like, oh, you did this wrong. And this looks like dog shit. It's like, what is wrong with people? Like, and I'm one of those people. I'm not posting anywhere unless I have exhausted all my resources. And I am new to the pinball stuff, but I've gone through the wiring. I've gone through and tested all the coils, the diodes, the connections, making sure there's nothing out of sorts, right? And the machine had just been gone through by another person, and I'm a stranger to schematics and electronics in general, and it's just like it's not just a printer thing, and even like when there used to be like groups for the vaping and stuff, and even people like trying to like build the people that are like building their own coils, like they're talking shit to them. It's like why? I don't get it, and it makes these spaces that could be nice positive places because there are people that just like helping people out. They got a lot of free time, and they turn these places into like hostile places. And we in our Discord server and our Facebook groups, like if people are, I don't care how knowledgeable they are or if there's somebody that spent thousands of dollars with us, if you're acting like a jagoff, you're getting booted. Like we don't tolerate it. And I think that needs to be more of the more of the norm.
More of the standard, yeah.
What you have with a convergent evolution of minds, and that's exactly what this is, right? You're all evolving in slightly different ways. It's a big convergent evolution, actually. You're all getting there at different times in different ways. Just because someone isn't there as quick as you, it doesn't mean they're not excelled in another part of 3D printing that you're not. 3D printing is actually quite a large industry. Whether we do a lot of work for veterinary practices and scanning bones and 3D printing replicas, sort of like bone structures, and all the way for printing for a retail environment. Every single sort of side of 3D printing, and every customer has a different angle, and what they want to make out of 3D printing, what they use 3D printing for, is completely different. Okay, so and there's lots of different types of minds in 3D printing. You've got people come from different industries, which is even more tricky. You've got people come from a retail environment. People come from stacking shelves in your Walmart or your Asda. Everyone's got a slightly different perspective on this industry. But that's one of the best things of it, is that everyone brings a different plate to the table. And then everyone will be able to impact their industry in different ways. And whether or not they know more or less about it is probably not the first thing we should be thinking about when we. No,
you should be trying. Like my whole thing is if because there's like posts I scroll by, I'm like, oh my god, this person's being so dumb. I don't go and then tell them you're being a dumbass. You're so stupid. You should throw your printer in the garbage and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I just scroll past because it's like if I don't want to help them. And I know they're being dumb, I'm not going to go and shit on them like they're new, but it's like, I don't feel like dealing with it, but somebody else will help them. Somebody else will want to sit there and help them. And occasionally I do, if it's something quick, like be like, hey, they can't tell you how many times where I'll see like a thread. And it's just like something as simple as, like their extruder arm cracked, like, the plastic, the plastic arms on the Ender 3s, those are a big problem where they cracked. And it's either that, the two common problems with under extruders around the Ender 3s were the extruder arm cracking or having that void between the heat break or between the nozzle and the PTFE tube. One of those two are usually the top two problems. But you have people that are just like, oh, your bed's not level, or you change your filament or change your slicer. Guys, it's none of these things. It is none of these things. You're sending this guy, he's probably reading his comment, doing a billion things on his printer, and none of them are the right thing that will actually resolve his issue.
We're spending a ton of money on stuff that doesn't even apply to it when it's just an extruder replacement. It's like, oh, you need a new hot end. Oh, you need new tubing. Oh, you need this and that. It's like, no, you just need this one part to get going and you're good.
Well, he needs a TH3D hot end and a TH3D extruder. Come on now.
I get that stuff all the time. It's like, oh, I want to put all this stuff on my printer. What are you printing? Oh, I'm just printing like little PLA doodads and things for my nieces and nephews. It's like, you don't need all this. It won't improve your print quality at all. just go with like half of what you have, and that will get you going and keep you going more reliably.
Yeah. I mean, we ask people, like we ask customers all the time, what is the printer not doing that you want it to do? And then we advise on what they should buy. Like I could easily sell people on buying every single damn upgrade in our shop, but I'm not like that. Like it's bad for our bottom line, but I'd rather have the reputation of giving people what they actually want and what they actually like, more so what they actually need, because what they want might not also be what they actually need. So it's trying to decipher by asking the questions of what is your goal here? Like, one, are you just playing with the printer? Do you want the printer to work? Like what direction are you taking? Like, do you want to do a bunch of upgrades just for the sake of doing upgrades? Right? Like,
and if you do those upgrades, you're on your own as well, because what you're doing is you're creating a machine that only you.
Your microphone is really bad for some reason. Try refreshing your browser or replugging it in. Oh
no, is it better now?
Oh yeah, there we go. It's a lot better. It sounded like you were like a robot.
Yeah, no, it's a sound.
Oh, and now you're gone.
What was that? Now it's off. Oh, it's completely off. Hang on, let's see. Go ahead and try talking.
Should be good now.
Yeah. I think you're good now. Your little signal thing. So in the bottom left of everybody's screen, your little window, like right down here, is like a connect. It's like it uses your multiple things, like your video quality, your audio quality, and your bandwidth. Audio. So basically, like if we're all showing good for most.
Okay, yeah, that's me. That would be the Cornish internet we have here. It's absolutely terrible. But I just saw Nemo there saying about picking up on 99% of the time they'll say that the filament is wet, and that's like a that's
99% of the time that's not the problem.
someone will say that before even asking where you live, like as well. Like how geographically, that's such a question to ask. You know, if and I know in the States, obviously you have, lots of different places. Yeah. You have everything from like dry, hot climates to wet climates. So it's such a question to ask. And actually, like, you probably at the start of that question, you'd ask what state they're in first before you even answered, because it might not even be that. But actually,
yeah, it might not apply then. I mean, like, we're in the Midwest. And I leave filament out all the time. Not all of my filament, but like PLA, ABS are usually fine. I keep nylon in a dry box. I keep PETG in the bags. Everything else I kind of leave out. But, I have friends too that are in Florida where it's extremely moist compared to here. And they have to handle their stuff differently than we do. The same thing for you. Like, your climate's completely different than where we're at.
Yeah, and different from us. Then, even if you go up the country a little bit, it's completely different. I mean, what it comes down to, some people will pick up on it, some people won't. But like, it's all about obviously taking away sort of factors in 3D printing that can cause
minimizing the variables. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're all printing from a dry box and it's set the glass transition temperature for PLA, I mean, you're going to have less issues than someone printing in a dusty environment with their PLA on the outside of the spool. And like, it depends if the moisture is going in or not. Some materials, the moisture doesn't even go in much.
ABS is one of those where, in my experience, like, I'm sure it is hydroscopic, or is it hydroscopic? I always say it wrong, but it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't absorb moisture much. Like, it does technically to a point, but is it to the point where you have to be like super anal about it,
or really affect print quality at all? Yeah, like I have 55-gallon tank right next to all my filament, and I never have major issues with it.
Yeah, it depends on the material. Like, my experience has been PETG, nylons, TPEs, TPUs. Or any sort of PETs, those are going to pull moisture in regardless of where you're at, unless you're in a very dry climate. But ABS, PLA, like, whatever. I mean, look, this is look, see how the filament just open. But you notice ones that are in the bags, those are all my nylons and PETGs, and the TPUs. They're all in.
All my nylons and stuff like that are below in a dry box.
So we have one of these. This is like fits about.
You're fancy.
It's about 60 spools. It's about 60 spools. So, but look, it's all about what you print. We print nylon. We print polycarbonate. We print
stuff that
everything
needs
that's
to
going
be
to give you
kept
an
dry.
issue with moisture. So it's just something we needed, you know. And then we have like an APM down here as well, which goes up to 120 degrees, and then we print out of the APM and into machines. So, but it's about reducing risk. If you can reduce risk, I mean, we will free print stuff on a contract basis for someone. If you're printing something and again and again and again, and it's a weekly thing, and you do that every month, then you kind of want to regulate that thing that you're doing, and having a dryer is part of that.
In general though, like it's not a bad thing. Like you're not gonna, aside from it being a little more hassle, it's never a bad thing to keep your filament dry. It's never a bad thing to keep it in the bags. It's never a bad thing to keep it with desiccant or have like a nice big cabinet. I would argue though that just to minimize risk and variables, I should say. Hang on one second. Krista cut her hand on some aluminum foil. I might have to go help her bandage her hand up. Yes, on aluminum foil somehow.
That's special.
Sorry, what foil?
Aluminium.
I just wanted to say it again. That was all.
Okay, she said she'll be fine. I told her to put pressure on it. Come on, I was a Boy Scout. You put pressure on it. I have had some gnarly cuts back in the days before flex plates were a standard from scrapers. How many of you guys here have cut your hands on scrapers at some point in your 3D printing adventures? I'm pretty sure everybody
multiple scars, I think.
I have, like, here, right there. See that? That's that one
that's
right
a good
there. It was good. This one got into the meaty plate. Yeah. I have. Oh, here, you might be able to see it right here. Once it focuses, like maybe, but this was like a flap that came off. It was like, and that was at 3:00 in the morning on a Sunday. I was like, I am not getting an expensive ER visit, so I put pressure on it. It stopped. I was like, put some antibiotic cream on there, put some butterfly band-aids on it, and wrapped it up.
Super glue. Super glue.
Yeah, my brother Doug, you know Doug, Mike. He cut an artery in his hand with a scraper and had to go to the emergency room. Yeah.
Is he okay now?
Yep.
Is he okay now?
Yeah, that was a big thing. I was very happy when flex plates became the norm because liability wise as a company, flex plates are a lot less liability than scrapers.
So when people were freezing their glass beds to get prints off, and they would shatter.
Yep. Well, yeah, I hadn't shattered any, but the days of Aquanet and the glass beds, I don't miss them at all. I know there's some people, and there are probably people watching that people still love glass beds for some reason, but it can't go back. It's got to be. It's flex plates are the way to go.
We use them for nylon sometimes, like because most magnets in 3D printers nowadays aren't actually capable of holding nylon down. Even if it's like got a heated chamber on some of these build sheets, because the magnets just, and you can put bed clips in there all you want, but there's arguments for that.
It's going to pull up.
Glass does have a place with nylon, I will say.
Yeah.
It's great. And actually carbon fiber as well is also great with glass. And with the right glue, you just have a release agent. And, because glass doesn't bend like sheets do.
It's more rigid.
If you've got enclosed area, then most of your problems will go away if you're using glass and enclosed heat. So, but yeah, there's still a chance of smashing.
Yeah,
like a 6 mil bit of glass, 8 mil bit of glass ain't nothing. If you've got like an incredibly high bit of PSI, bit of plastic trying to rip itself, that bit.
It's just gonna. It's a sheer force. Yeah,
it's a lot of PSI. It's a lot of pressure. But
yeah. No, and I've had some larger prints too, where like we're talking edge. Like I think it was on my 5+, which is why it has an enclosure now. Even PLAs where it was just enough sheer force pulling up on the plate where it pulled up off the really strong magnets. Like we sell some pretty strong magnets, but if you got enough force on a plate and it's the whole entire plate, it's not just a bunch of parts, it's going to pull it up. Like, yeah, and I do still have some glass plates around here just in a pile. I haven't used them in years, but I have them for the event that I might need them for a project or something.
Yeah, I kept my S4 plate for that reason too.
Yeah,
it works, but it has its place.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to the one. Did the 5 Plus come with a glass plate? I think it did. If it did, I can't remember what happened to it. It's been long gone.
And there's different glues as well for different stuff. You know, that Aquanet stuff is like, it's not even a release agent. It's just stick. Do you know what I mean?
It's
so
just
you get
stick,
it, it's just stick. So you get it below 40 degrees, and that stuff ain't coming off. Your part's not going to leave the glass by magic. It's stuck.
You have to cool it down. I remember doing all sorts of stuff with like taking like the can air and turn it upside down and like just going around the edge of the print to try to get it to pop off. You know, but you're also then running the risk of shattering the glass too with a strong temperature change. You know, it's
but some glues have got that release agent in, right? Like
we have a release agent in ours too, and like I don't know if Vision Miner does or not. But one of my complaints, other than the bottle and the application method, was the fact that sometimes prints just wouldn't come off the beds. You know, it stuck down stuff really well, but we'd have like ABS prints that still would be stuck to the beds completely. And it's like, okay, well, now we got to chisel them off the bed, or, you know, we'd have the flex plates and they'd still be stuck. You'd be flexing them. You'd hear it like really pulling off the plate. So yeah, you need to have a release agent's definitely a must. I won't go back to an adhesive that doesn't have a good release agent in it, because it makes life a lot easier. Like you want an adhesive that's going to get stickier the hotter it gets heated to, and then also release when it gets cool, right? Like that's the ideal situation. So
yeah, I mean that's what it's there for. When your build plate cools down at the end of the print, you want it to let go of your print, you know. And there's more reasons for that. If your print stays stuck to your build bed, right, and you go from 60 degrees down to 0, I do not need to tell people what's going to happen to your build bed. Even on simple materials, your build sheet's going to come off, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the time, because if you let something cool down that much and it cools itself down slowly over that period of time, it's going to warp. You know, you can fix that by turning the bed back on and then letting it lay flat and then taking it off when it's slightly hot again. But if you have that release agent, that won't happen. You know, so
it'll just come off.
It'll just come off before it bends the build sheet. Yeah. So there's other reasons why it's good. You know, it's not. Yeah. But yeah, definitely. It's underrated. I see a lot of people saying they don't use glue. You know, and for me, even on, you know, sheets.
I end up just put glue. Okay. I just put glue on. I honestly just put glue on everything, because I look at it this way. It's kind of like an insurance policy where, the print might be fine without it, but I don't want to be running the risk of maybe the nozzle hits something and it's going to knock it off the bed. But with the glue, it's not going to knock it off the bed. It's just going to keep running the print. You know, and there's a lot of people that are like just pretentious assholes. There's no other way to put it. They're pretentious assholes about, I don't use glue on my bed. I'm a better person than you because I don't use glue. Shut up. Like, who cares?
The best one, it's not even that. It's, well,
good
if
for
you properly,
congratulations.
Properly tuned your printer, you wouldn't have to worry about that. It's like,
oh yeah, if you just leveled your bed, you wouldn't need glue. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like seriously, like it's like there's so many people that they're so sad with their lives that, you know, trying to dunk on people in Facebook groups is their only source of, you know, some sort of happiness. Like, crazy. You know, and it's just, you know, it's easy to call them out. You know, but like I said, if we see people like that, like we'll warn them in our groups, be like, cut it out. Like, and if they
don't be a dick.
Keep going,
I've even yelled at Emerson.
Yeah. Like, don't be a dick. And then if they keep going on, it's like, okay, you're gone. You're not, you know, it's not the frou-frou, like overly sensitive type moderation. It's, hey, just don't be an asshole. Like, you know, I've told people, like, I get it. Like, this guy's being an idiot. Like, let him be an idiot. Either help him or move on. Don't go and shit on them just because they're being dumb. Because there's a lot of people that do dumb stuff in all these groups. But, you know, you can either just either shut up or help them and try to help them see what they're doing wrong, because the chances are they probably don't realize that they're doing something wrong.
Yeah, it's just lack of information, not being dumb.
Yeah. You don't put someone off. Everyone's got to ask a question sometime. But if you start shooting, I mean, it goes back to the old in school thing, is someone putting their hand up and then getting persecuted for asking a question. Actually, who's going to be more knowledgeable after that question's answered? Everyone in the class, actually, because probably most of them probably didn't know and didn't want to ask to put their hand up and ask. So, well, I read through some of these Facebook groups, and sometimes I pick things up from time to time from some of the replies and some of comments and things like that. Sometimes I'll look a bit differently at something, So some of those comments that come out of it can be quite good and insightful as well.
The problem is, though, wait, as anybody dealing with it, the problem is is actually getting through the crap responses and the ones where people, because you have other people that maybe they've troubleshot one thing and they know how to fix one thing, so then they think they know how to fix other things, and then again sending people down a rabbit hole of stuff that they have no idea about. I do want to kind of bring us back onto our show plan here. We do have a couple of news topics that are not bamboo printers catching on fire. We have two things. What's that?
Good news.
Yeah, good news. So this one thing here, Tor, I'll let you talk about this. I'll share the screen though for it. This is the that AI tool you found here.
Yeah. So with how ChatGPT has been evolving and whatnot, I was really curious about this because within the next few years, I actually did try this earlier today. It's okay. I wouldn't say it's great right now, but it opens up a lot of possibilities.
Let me see if I can.
Loomis website. If you click on that one, it will actually pull up the.
I'm signed. They want me to make an account. I'm just signing in with my Google really quick.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
But it's
prompt
to 3D model.
Oh,
so give it a text prompt.
Let's see.
Make you a 3D model that you can actually print out.
A frog with a top hat. Oh wait, hang on. I don't know if Doug's watching, but here, a waffle wearing a top hat.
You'll get some of the first gen Chat GPT responses where it's like.
Okay, this one's kind of good. This one really here. This one's kind of good. It's creating an interactive model. It's almost there.
But yeah, it's something that within the next few years, it's gonna be crazy what you can actually do with it. Right now, it's just kind of basic.
Crazy. Yeah, I'm here. I'll put a link in the chat here.
A waffle wearing a top hat. Well,
he's even got a mustache and everything. Format.
Nice
they haven't. Maybe they're a British company.
They're British.
Here, I'm gonna download this here. Downloading STL file. I'm gonna download this. And,
Sam Prentice eating a pancake. Everyone wants to see that clip.
So okay, so I pulled the model in here. Let me hide this here. Let me share the.
It's right now it's still rough, but within the next few years, we just had all the AI videos coming out.
Here's the model it made. So this is the STL. So, yeah, I could print this.
You can do a multi-material print with it, yeah.
I mean,
and then I started using this quite recently. I'll put a little link into the. Can I put links into the chat? Does it allow me? Will it allow me?
If you post it in the private chat in here, I can post it out.
I'll do that.
On the left-hand side, you'll see, or on the right-hand side, you'll see chat.
Yeah.
And then there's a stream in private. So go to the private, and then I can post a link out. Let me see here. A German Shepherd holding a rifle. Let's see.
It's you get some cool models out of it and whatnot. But in the future, what the?
Okay. This is okay. This one's pretty good.
That's great.
Fantastic.
Here, I'll post this one in here. Look at him. Look at him.
But it's going to be kind of like
Make
all the
high
other AI
res.
models. The more people put into it and more people mess with it,
Yeah. So here, I'll
it'll
post
advance
this
further.
here. So this is what Mike just shared.
So this is something
meshing.
we've been applying textures to models. So you can upload your model and apply a texture at the bottom. So actually, for a lot of stuff, this is quite important. But it's from the more corporate side of 3D printers. It's not Creality, it's not Anycubic and stuff like that. But it's actually a tool anyone can use from Formlabs to apply a texture to an item. So you can just
uploaded a little cat model.
Oh,
That's
that's
my
kinda-
downloads folder.
Yeah, so
pretty neat.
anyone knows how to do this any other way will take a lot of your computer's resources. It'll take a while.
Cool.
That's neat.
And then you can import
That's
your
pretty
own
cool, yeah.
textures into. You can put your own displacement maps into there as well. So if you, and I've got some catalogs of displacement maps I can send to you actually, but you can import lots into there. And you can quickly export that as you want. And
Yeah.
small things like that is actually great from the corporate side. They do release some cool stuff, and anyone can use it. So it's quite good.
Yeah, I can literally. Oh, and you can scale. Oh,
Yeah.
So much better than only having the fuzzy skin option in slicers.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Quite
you
cool
have to make an account here.
Oh
I
yeah,
have a
you have to forgo your information, obviously, for use for such a tool. But you know,
they gotta make money somehow.
Oh yeah,
it's still. So was that a German Shepherd Centaur? Yeah, it made a German. That one made a German Shepherd Centaur. It's still it's making the high res version. This is a cool find, Tor.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you guys know when it's done. We're gonna just put that
come up with something in AI and then put a texture on it. Handsome, lovely.
And you could probably even use the Genie one with ChatGPT to actually come up with better prompts for it.
Yeah. Okay. So the other news thing, which is this is kind of neat. This might actually be something that interests you, Mr. Mike. Is the Nero posted a peek inside the Piopoli Magneto X. And my first shock is that it's using a Big Tree Tech board in this very expensive printer.
Mate, I was in talks to them for a while about this machine, but they wouldn't let me sell it in the UK because someone in Europe bought a UK company bought a European company which sold it, and then it automatically had rights to it.
They're going USB. I'm assuming this is the SBC here. They're going USB over. I'm assuming it's running probably Clipper or something, and it's going USB.
Yeah,
directly wired over. Doesn't this have a UART? Doesn't this board have a UART connection?
It does.
Looks like a craft bot from like 3-4 years ago.
And they got a 24 volt. This is really weird. I wonder if this is going like if this is a PCB that's going directly into the terminals of a power supply.
It looks like it because if you look at the
that's what it looks
MOSFET,
like right here.
Look at the MOSFET. It's the same. It's going into the PCB.
Oh yeah, that's an SSR. Maybe it's an AC bed. I can't tell what it says, but I think I see AC right here. And there's something else going on here. Someone got a little happy with the hot snot there.
That's the X and Y motors.
How about
those are drivers? Oh, okay. Oh yeah, you're right. Because look at you've got the two. They got step stick adapters here for the X.
But they're making these one by one to ship out, right? They are. Like I remember.
I would assume so.
Yeah, they're building them to order. It's not. The friend. I've seen a few people. A V-Shaper. We went over to Poland to see V-Shaper, and they do exactly the same thing. They've got everything, and they got all the components there.
Michael did a video on it this morning. Teaching tech? Are you talking about, Jerry?
What did he think of the printer? After all, did he like it, or what was his thoughts on it? You liked it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here, yeah,
Innovation.
Yeah, Magneto X.
But it's what was it? $140 for the enclosure panels for the side, and then, oh no, 70 for the enclosure panels on the side, and then 140 for that top.
I mean, 140 for that
On
top
top-
doesn't seem that bad now that
On
I see
top
it.
of
That's a
paying
pretty big.
$2,000 for the printer.
I mean, yeah, it's high, but I mean, this is also not. This is not really a entry level machine. You're talking. Oh, it's definitely running Clipper. 100%.
Yeah, it's stock Clipper.
Yeah, it's a Clipper. Yeah, it's a Clipper. Does it work well? What is the crack?
My fault for the lever in the wrong position.
Yeah, it looks well. I think because there was under extrusion there. I think you meant the lever on the hot end here.
Yeah, they have their own little
isn't
proprietary. It's
that
their
looks
own
simple.
thing.
I've seen that type extruder before, or something
It
similar.
looks like a copy of the Orbiter.
Yeah, it looks like an orbiter with a metal.
Because if you look at
housing.
the filament sensor, I'm pretty sure that is the Orbiter filament sensor on it.
It's very similar. I mean, why reinvent the wheel? The Orbiter was a good extruder.
Oh yeah,
this is one thing I do see us.
That's a Rapido. That looks like a Rapido.
Yeah, I was gonna say the one thing I see more common happening, which is these like encompassing or like circumference type wraparound ceramic heaters, or like the little tiny ones. I'm willing to bet though they're probably running CAN bus or something. It looks like they're probably running CAN bus because there's 3 tool head boards stacked in here. See, this is the thing that I'm not being a fan of these newer printers, is that all these boards in the hot ends and like on the K1 and the Bamboos in the heated beds, electronics do not like heat. And especially if this is going to be in an enclosure, you're looking at a shortened lifespan on the electronics, no matter what brand it is.
That might be UART, like the K1s. There's too many
wires.
UART,
okay. Yeah, UART's a lot better than, I mean, I see there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 cables here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, UART, I'd rather do UART than CAN bus, because CAN bus I know is kind of a pain in the ass.
It sucks.
I agree.
Yeah, I've heard multiple people tell me that CAN bus is a pain in the ass. So it's not just
they're making it quite unique and proprietary by doing that. You know, they're adding boards in that you can't just make up and bypass.
Yeah, like this is their own special board for those weird drivers instead of steppers they have, or no, motors I should say. It's part of the actual gantry. That's why like there's magnets in there, so I call it the magneto. No, I'll have to look through this. I'll post a link to this in the chat if anybody wants to watch it. Mike Teaching Tech is it's pretty cool.
I'm curious what the host board is.
I mean, there's a little fan here cooling it. This looks like the host board. I would assume that this is the host board, looking at how everything's wired up.
Well, yeah, because you got USB from the MCU to that board, so.
And the Octopus Pro, that has a UART connection, doesn't it? For going to the SBC. So why the hell are they using USB over UART? Like, that's so weird.
Probably just easier.
Yeah, so they do have, they have Clipper in here. Apparently it makes a lot of noise at idle. Implementing camp. Okay, we've messed with that. Upgraded bed load cell. Okay, so they're using load cells in the bed.
More people have been doing, or more companies have been doing that, it seems.
Yeah. I mean, this print isn't that good. You got lines going through right here.
I don't know.
Like, got some extrusion problems.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, and this is a 13-minute video here. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been on Michael's channel a little bit. See what he has. See what new stuff he has here. Oh, he's got the Panda Touch. Tori, you've been playing with yours. You've been liking it, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been great so far. I do wish
slick but endangered is his title here. That's funny. Endangered Panda. I get it. That's funny.
Like, I can't see, probably not to show up on screen, but I can't get any of the files that are on the printer itself to show up to print from.
Well, interesting.
But I just send it through what's it called anyways? Orca Slicer.
Yeah. Interesting.
Do you think this is just something they just spun up quickly to just make some money on? Like, or do you think they actually had a roadmap for it? You know,
I think so, because they already had the hardware for the Panda Touch is the same as the Clipper Touch. I think
that's
said
what they're
going
to call it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a Clipper Touch. It's the same thing. All right, here I told you I'd be back here. Here's the high res model.
let's go.
Let's go.
Right, you need to. That needs to be your multicolor print for the bamboo.
Yeah.
Please print that.
Please print that. Yeah, let's go.
Oh my God, that's funny. No, this is a cool tool. Okay, I think that's all of I think that's all like the new stuff we have.
Hey Tim, someone said on that print he actually admitted that he forgot to lock the extruder on it.
No, I saw that earlier, but I wasn't sure if that was the same print or a different one. All right, let's see if we have any questions. Then we can kind of go into like an open chit chat. We only have one. If you guys want to ask questions, you can ask anytime during the show. I actually set up a domain. You can just go to Q&A.th3dstudio.com, and it'll take you to a form, and you can submit your questions there. So you guys can do that anytime during the show. You know, we've got more stuff. We're an hour into this already because we all like to talk about all this stuff. Yeah, so there's only one question right now. If you guys want to ask another question, go ahead. But it is the one question in the queue right now. It's from Justin Dybell. He said, is it possible to let the 8mm get closer to the bed? I want to adjust between 0.75 and 0.5 millimeters instead of 1 millimeter. The nozzle can hit the bed during probing sometimes. Yeah, you can. Basically, as long as it's getting good test results and your nozzle is not hitting the bed during probing, you can go ahead and adjust it for your particular printer setup. It doesn't really matter. Now, those probes, because they are so small, are non-adjustable. They are a fixed adjustment. And their total trigger distance is going to be right around like 1.5 to 2 millimeters before it like sees the bed. So, yeah, if you need to adjust it, go ahead and adjust it. Your nozzle should not be, if everything's properly set up, your nozzle should not be touching the bed at all during probing. So
one thing actually, Tim, I'd like to ask some of your viewers and stuff, and some people that, you know, a lot of the people that I guess in this stream may use 1.75. So this may not be apparent, but but when dealing with the corporate side and our side quite frequently, there's 2.85 and there's 1.75 filament. Okay. And we use a lot of 1.75, and that's fine. The corporate side use a lot of 2.85. And what I've got some feelings about what's happening with 2.85. But if anyone's here, maybe you could ask the question: is do you find that 2.85 you're struggling to get it in the same quantities that you were obtaining it before? And with the rise of the speed of the Generation 2 machines, what I call Generation 2 machines in FDM, there is no 2.85 machine, which
there's not.
I know, really, that can keep up with the speed of a 1.75 machine. So looking at that, you've got 1.75 users using filament 5 times the speed of a 2.85 mil user. So if you are a 2.85 mil distributor or maker of filament, how would you feel about making filament which doesn't print as fast as 1.75? There's a lot to be said about that. And actually, how much longer is 2.85 going to be around because of that?
I mean, I think 2.8. I have never owned a printer that runs 2.85. I don't think any of us. I know, Mike, you have, but I don't think any of us. And I'd be surprised if anybody, even in the chat watching, had a 2.85 machine.
It's a thing of the past, right? I do.
Yeah,
believe
it's going away. And the other thing, the only thing that
BCN.
The only thing that was a benefit of the 2.85 was the nozzle size, but now with like the CHT type nozzles where they have the channels where you can exceed your filament diameter, it's a non-issue anymore. You got extruders that can keep up with high demands of filament. You know, in terms of how fast it can
flow
feed.
rate, on the volumetric flow rate on a Titan, let's say a Titan E3D. You know, remember the Titan?
Yeah, like one of the those were decent. Yeah. Those were decent extruders
Like,
too.
so if you rig a Titan with a 2.85 mil, like a super volcano, 1.6 mil nozzle, your volumetric flow rate is insane. Right, and we used it. We used that for a project in the past, but
the Titans are still good extruders. They're just not dual gear, but they were a geared extruder.
Yeah.
So
so Red Light. Yeah, good to see that some people do actually.
Yeah, he's got one. What printer do you have, Red Light? That's a 285. I know who that is. It's one of our fellow Hoosier buddies.
Because coming from filament production. And maybe some of your users will be really surprised to hear this. And someone picked up on it there. When I'm making a roller 2.85, fuck it. I can have a roller's 2.85 made for about £6, right? 1 kg. Yep. But 1.75, it's about £12. Okay. So 2.85 is generally cheaper to make, but
because it's less less moving.
Less, you can imagine why, right? If you were a filament manufacturer, right, why would you make a filament which would sell 5 times less the speed as 1.75?
You won't. Like it's economies of scale thing. I mean, there's like not much. Like I don't even think any of does Polymaker even do 285?
Yep.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sure I was gonna say if they didn't, like maybe they're just doing it just because of
they do 3 mil and 2.85. Yeah. So,
but you know what? They've sent us they'll send because we're an authorized Polymaker reseller. They've sent us when they're running deals on stuff, and a lot of the stuff they have on deep discount is all 285. Like it's rarely the 1.75 stuff. It's a lot of the 2.85. So I don't know if they're trying to get rid of it.
They're selling it off so cheap. You look at most resellers, Sam.
I'm on their site right now. Literally, all they have for 285 in their PLA Pro is black and white. Everything else is out of stock.
It's just the older It's the most untalked about thing in 3D printing.
Yeah, it's right now. Here, I'll just share this. Good luck if you have 285 printers and you want selection. You really got fuck all. Because look at here. So here's 1.75. There's only a couple colors out of stock. We go to 285. Boom.
Nothing. So it's
a couple.
It's the most untalked about scale back of a diameter of a filament ever. Yeah. And actually, there's a lot of.
Let's see. Look at here. The cool stuff is not even offered in anything. Like here, Galaxy PLA 175. So
Sam, if you want to get a good idea about this, Sam, in the UK, speak to Tim at 3D Print. Probably give you an idea of how much 2.85 he's got selling for literally nothing. And I can guarantee you can't get rid of it.
Yeah, look at they're all. I wonder if they're just gonna phase it out because let's see, Polycarb. They have that.
Like 3 brands of printer use it, and maybe
look at every single one. Every single one, the 285 has tons of stuff out of stock.
Yep.
And they're a pretty good sample to take because they're such a big color. But here's the other thing: look at none of the cool stuff is available in 285.
No,
none of it. The silks, even the basic silks.
Yeah, because they know they're not going to sell
dual color. Basically, if you're on 285, you're printing black and white.
Hey Tim, check the chat, private chat. I'll send you a link to pull up.
Let me see here.
Hopefully, it pulls up the same way it did for me.
So that was one of our recent customers.
It says the content you.
Yeah, of course.
What were you trying to search for?
Micro Center has 20 options for 2.85. I mean, it's all inland, and it's all they got a mixture of Petchy, ABS, PLA.
But look at their stock levels: 7, 4, 3, 3.
Yeah, it's not much.
Every single one of these is pretty low stock so far. One.
It's got.
And they're all discounted. They're all discounted.
Yeah. By
half.
It's gotten
They're
us
not
a few
carrying that
times where
longer.
we're like,
Yeah,
oh,
this
cool,
one.
they got black PETG in stock, and we get it home, and we're looking at it, we're like, son of a bitch, it's 2.85, it's not 1.75. It's like, damn it. Then I have to drive all the way back down there to get rid of it.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the reasons why it presented it to me so obviously, like, we work with a lot of corporate customers, and I end up ripping out automaker machines and putting other stuff in, right? But why are they even coming to me in the first place? Like, I'd say half of them is because they can't get 2.85 filament anymore. So they're like, what are we going to do? Like, what are we going to do? And like, Mike, we got all these G codes. It all works on 2.85. Our entire business is set up on 2.85. If think of all the people that are going to be cut short right now, right? All of the corporate people with automakers, the corporate people with BCN, the corporate
they're gonna
people
have
with
to.
Longspot,
They're gonna have to change.
they're going to have to find someone else pretty quick. Because
they're gonna have to.
Yeah, and unless they talk to a manufacturer and have it made, and then limit,
which you're talking a lot of
more
money,
expensive and limited.
It's not cost effective. You'd be better off just changing the printer, even
Exactly.
even if you got like an X1C or an X1E.
And if it prints 5 times the speed, I mean,
exactly
not to, you know. And
yep.
so for anyone out there with experience in the 3D printing industry, if you know a business near you who's corporate that runs automakers, then perhaps you should maybe have a conversation with them, because I can guarantee they'll probably pat you on the back.
Yeah. I mean, the other alternative is doesn't Ultimaker have conversions over to 175 as well? Or no?
Maybe, but it'd be a third party thing. They're never going to take someone away from the core.
Really? So they're not. They don't even. I haven't actually looked at any Ultimaker's lineup in a long time. Do they have anything that runs 175, or is it all 285?
Not as far as I know.
That's insane. That's that. I mean, it'd be like us continuing to ignore bamboo. Like, you know, you have to keep up with the market trends. Like, I'm not a big fan of the bamboo printers because of all the privacy stuff and the lockdown ecosystem. However, we are a 3D printing company, and we'd be stupid as fuck to not keep up with what the market is doing.
You know, they tried to
like, are they going to be the next? Are they going to be the next, like, you know, Blockbuster out of?
Well, recently I had a high level product channel manager from Ultimaker, right? And I saw him commenting on, like, you know, LinkedIn, Facebook. We talk about Facebook. You get a lot of toxic people on Facebook. Fine, lots of different opinions.
I'm looking here. Even their latest printer, the S7, is still 285.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Sorry.
But yeah, they tried setting a trend, and that
it
trend
failed.
Stick. And but what they haven't done is recognize the fact that the trend's moving, and actually, in a way, unless Ultimaker releases a printer next week that's the same speed as the bamboo and uses 2.85,
no one's going to touch it.
I can't really see a way out of them. And like I said, on LinkedIn, I'll engage with lots of different people from manufacturers.
I'll be right back. You guys can keep talking.
And these guys, I had recently had like a really high up level channel manager from Ultimaker come on to this post. We had a reseller in the UK that was posting about themselves getting 5 new bamboo printers, and they're going to start selling them. And then you had a high level Ultimaker channel manager attacking this reseller in the UK, one of his customers, right, for using bamboo, you know.
It's like catch up or fall behind.
What do I see from that? I see a company under extreme pressure to keep up with trending times. And in his post, he was talking about, we have 300, 400 employees in Europe. We're better than bamboo. We're better than supporting. I was like, the reason why you're not as good is because you have those 300-400 employees in Europe holding you back from releasing something more on trend. You know, so actually their strength is also their weakness.
They have the capabilities, though, to put out good machines, though. That's the thing. Like, they have the capability and the skill set to do it. I'm fixing my camera, by the way. Why aren't they, though? That's the question. Like, why are they not reallocating those? Because they're already established. It's not like they have to start over. Like, they're already an established company, right? Like, that's the hardest part. But if you're not, then you're that's it. You're done.
They bought Ultimaker bought MakerBot recently, didn't they? And we all know why that is, actually, because we all wondered why Thingiverse wasn't really bought by anyone before. Well, Thingiverse was MakerBot, right? And then Ultimaker bought them. Why did?
Oh, I just
Ultimaker
realized it's
buy...
I just realized it's Ultimaker Thingiverse now, because Stratus is on MakerBot.
Yeah, well, MakerBot, right, is the worst printer manufacturer in the history of printer manufacturing. We all know that. They all ended up in schools on funded sort of trips by shaky hand gangs, right? And then no one used them, right?
Yeah.
And we all know that. So why would Ultimaker buy a company which is so off trend? Thingiverse. So, like, look, there's reasons why these people do these things. Think of the mailing list they had when they bought that, right?
Yeah.
How many people use Thingiverse, put their email into Thingiverse and signed up? Fuck. And that's Ultimaker that bought all your information. Like,
well, and then the thing too is if you're buying Thingiverse, you now have an email list of people who probably have 3D printers, which is why they're on Thingiverse in the first place.
Everyone, yeah. So they make corporate decisions for corporate reasons, and it just makes me feel like the 2.85 should be more of a talking subject for 3D printing, influencers and stuff like that. It's a huge subject. You're talking about like corporations that soon are not going to be able to print anymore. No.
I mean, I think if Ultimaker was smart, they'd release kits, first-party kits, to convert their machines as a 175, and just like, this is step one, right? Get conversion kits, get your current machines you're already selling converted. It's not that much. It's not that hard, right? It's really not that hard to do a conversion. You change out the hot end, you change out your extruder, update the firmware. That's all you have to do. It's not a big deal to go from 285 to 175. They could easily.
Well, it is though, if you're used to running the same G-code files for years and now they're useless. And I think that's what Mike's trying to point out.
But
it's not just a matter of switching filaments. It's
okay, but if they don't do this, if they have to do the G-code, if the companies are going to have to change your G-code, well, they would also have to change your G-code if they went and got rid of all the Ultimakers and put Bamboos in.
Yeah, same.
So what would you, as an Ultimaker, I would rather have to update their G code and still keep using my machines and still keep selling our machines that have more.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying there's
versus them leaving the brand completely.
Hardware, it's hardware, it's software, it's
the other thing too is they have the talent and they have the teams that could come out with a printer that could compete with Bamboo.
Yeah,
it might be a little bit pricier, but they can still then back it with their support, because let's be honest, Bamboo support, just like all these other Chinese companies, is dog shit.
Well,
Bamboo's better than others, before all the Bamboo fanboys in the chat start raging and seething at the
3D
foaming at the mouth.
Sorry.
But their support's not great. It's not going to be as good as Ultimaker. It's not going to be even as good as Prusa or any other company that is more service focused. There's been a lot. I've seen a lot of people, including people that are like, I hate the fucking term, but influencers. They're even, having a hard time getting Bamboo to do shit. There's even, like, I see people on the Bamboo groups where, like, because they're overwhelmed by all this A1 catching on fire stuff, where people aren't even getting responses back and they're getting pissed. But I mean, that's what you get dealing with a Chinese company. Like, some are better than others, but at the end of the day, they're not putting a ton of money into customer service. They don't care. Like, it's just how these Chinese companies operate. If Ultimaker was smart, they would be coming out with a Core XY to compete with Bamboo that would run 175 filament and start getting either, like I said, getting conversion kits for older models, maybe go back a model or two. Because, I mean, here's the thing: if I have an Ultimaker and it's going to cost me like $200-300 to retrofit it and change it over to 175, and I can keep using it for a couple of years, and even though it's not the fastest, but it works, I might want to do that. And then maybe I'll add on another faster printer later on. But I would rather that faster printer be another Ultimaker.
Yeah, upgraded to like 3.5, 3.5 plus, what have you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they don't do that. I mean, they're going to end up going out of business if they don't keep up. I mean, it's the same thing that would have happened to us if we didn't keep up. Like, this whole market, especially on the consumer side, moves so fucking fast. You have to keep up with everything going on. Like, that's why I put so much emphasis on, like, when new machines come out, especially in the, like the Crealities, the Sovals, like the markets, the brands we deal with, and now Bamboo's a brand we deal with. We purchase the machines to get them in so we can be ahead of all the competitors to actually have things supported, have things figured out, and start, doing stuff for those machines. The market changes very, very fast. And I think we'll probably go into another little bit of a lull where these, Gen 2 machines, as you like to call them, I think it's a good way to differentiate them. The more automated ones, the more polished ones, we'll probably be in a little bit of lull until the next big thing comes around and Gen 3 comes out. But we're going to see more bamboo-like printers, where they're polished. They got nice color screens that actually work. Not kind of these half-ass ones that Creality had been doing for years. They just looked pretty, but really they were crap to use. It's
one of my questions to Ultimaker, Tim, when I think you were off stream there, but like I had a really big high level channel manager at Ultimaker.
No, I heard it. Yeah.
And actually
they were attacking a reseller on Facebook.
On LinkedIn. On LinkedIn,
sorry.
Like somewhere where like they just look so silly, like that. LinkedIn isn't about that. Do you know what I mean? It's about B2B connections, promoting your stuff.
I know you were you're a big fan of LinkedIn. You're Mr.
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
mate. Like it's anyone who has the 3D printing business should be on there. Like, how are you going to meet other people like you and cover companies that want you?
We're on there. We post stuff out there too, but I rarely do people actually like message us on there. Usually, it's just some fucking crappy company trying to sell me crap that I don't need. The laptop salesman likes to message me.
But my question to him was, if you had the capability to make Ultimaker print faster, why would you have not done it 2 years ago? And actually,
they could have done it. Their structure is not like here's the thing. They're not Core XY, but their printers could be made to run fast. They're all on linear rods already. Like
it's the power systems they struggle with. The whole volumetric flow rate of the whole system is choked up by their electrical system and how it's powered. But what they could have done is
they could have had an upgrade kit though.
Their S7, which was actually pioneered. The old reason the S7 was about was because Ultimaker were doing a deal with a company called Signify and making lampshades. Signify wanted a bigger S5, so actually because Signify were actually capable of paying for that model to be made. That's why Ultimaker brought in the S7 into their main range. It was because of one of their customers printing so many lampshades for Philips that they were able.
So here, they don't even have the request a quote. So this thing's going to be overpriced as shit. So
yeah, it's crazy.
So what is the more accurate inductive probing? That's fine. Or do they have an auto Z offset thing? Because I think that's one of the things. Like even the $200 Ender 3 now has auto Z offset.
It's just a bigger S7. It's just a bigger S5. There's like nothing in it.
This is we've had oh wow PEI coated plates. We've had those for years.
But this is like 10 grand.
This kind of seems like the Apple of 3D printers, bragging about technology
totally
that Android's had for 20 years.
Yeah. Oh, Cura integration. Nobody. How many people here are still actually using Cura? Because I feel like everybody's either on Prusa Slicer, Super Slicer, or
Ultimaker bought Cura, didn't they? Ultimaker bought the rights to Cura, and that's why Cura.
What the hell is anti-flood? What the hell does this even mean? Anti-flood sensor.
It's like what everyone else calls it. It's obviously monitoring the flow of plastic, so when it goes awry, it stops the print. It's like what everyone else has been doing for years. Do you know what I mean?
But it also includes stronger magnets to ensure the print core door stays closed. This is not worth bragging about. This just means your last gen was dog shit.
Innovation, innovation. Can't stop us now, guys. We got stronger magnets.
She looks like she's having a stroke. Like
a little derpy there. Again, it's equivalent to bragging about your phone having titanium and then having nothing else to brag about.
Those print cores are. Those print cores.
This isn't even that big of a fucking build volume.
No, the print cores are 140 pounds.
This is smaller than my Ender 5 Plus.
And you have to get a quote.
Those print heads are 150 quid as well. So that's like the cost of an Ender 3 to some people,
Yeah.
Just
Ender 3 and some filament.
Yeah.
You go to
for what?
I don't know, but like a corporate person sees that and they go, "Oh, it looks easy." You know, it comes with warranty. Well, that's nice. You
Their
know,
print quality is not even that great.
no. So we did it. I did a lot of work on the Ultimaker, the open filament system, and making profiles for people, and the Ultimaker is actually good to people like me, actually. So you can go to filament manufacturers and you can charge them to make a profile on this system, on the Ultimaker filament program system. And I early on in my career, I did this quite a lot, actually, is I worked for filament manufacturers and I took their filament and I pumped it through the machine and I made a profile. And Ultimaker were one of the first ever people to come up with the most structured program to build a profile. And if anyone's got time, go check it out. It's called the Ultimaker Open Filament Program, and you can become an engineer on that Open Filament Program, and then you can make your own profiles for the Open Filament Program.
But only for 285, right?
2.85, yeah. But if you're a user of Ultimaker and you know how to use it, then you can work with filament manufacturers to get their filament on there. And I used to charge people £1,000 for a material.
Is it the Material Alliance program?
Material Alliance program, yeah.
Okay.
So, but what they have is they have like an engineer's program for Ultimaker. You can apply to be a Ultimaker engineer, and then that basically gives you rights to put filaments into the system. And sometimes they set it up with filament manufacturers so that they can make their own profile for the Ultimate Filament program. But a lot of the people that make filament don't actually print it, funnily enough. So by being an application engineer, you can approach these filament manufacturers and say, look, like, your filament's not on this program. Do you want it on there? I'll charge you some money and I'll get you some more exposure. And we did that with quite a few companies early on in my career, and actually put us in contact with loads of cool people. But also we made a lot of money making filament profiles for a machine which I don't even use, you know. And so, you know, there was good money in doing that for that corporate stuff. And I don't disagree with me doing it earlier on. It gave me a good bit of financial money working with different people, but they were paying people to do that. And the structure that it did, you had to print a square, you measured if it was to tolerance, you printed something with an overhang, you checked the overhang, and then you printed something with PVA, soluble glue, and then
so it's pretty thorough.
Head. And then you put the profile through every test, right? So that when it went onto that filament program, a corporate client could download it, know they're using a profile from an applicational engineer, and succeed. So they were
somebody that's actually tested it.
Yeah.
They were one of the
if they're having an issue, it's not going to be the slicer profile.
I do have 4 questions in here, and any of you guys can answer these. So this one question we have is from Shuni. He says he's planning to buy Easy board setup for his Ender 3 V2 Neo. He's got the Microsys NG on it. That's a good hot end. I switched the heat block assembly to an E3D V6. That's not really needed. Their stock heat block is fine, although you do get the cartridge thermistor. It will work. Main thing is going to be alignment of your ducts. Overall intention to print everything requiring 300C and down. Question: is there any foreseeable issues? I don't see any foreseeable issues other than making sure that because I don't know if I haven't measured the total length of from the heat breakdown to the tip of the nozzle if the V6 is different than the MK8 block it comes with. I don't think you'll need anything else. The Ender 3 V2 Neo, though, that does have a color screen. You'll probably need to switch the screen out. It depends on what screen it has. So, and I'll put I don't know if you're still, yeah, you're still in the chat. So there are a couple of, there's a couple of versions of the Creality color screens, and we actually have a Help Center article on here, so I'm going to post in the chat. There's 4 different versions. If you have the DWin or DocEye versions, you can update the firmware on it. You don't need to change the screen. If you have the Viewy or the TJC version, you have to change the screen. And we have an LCD kit that's like, I think it's like $30. Yeah, $39 with everything, all the cables, the mounting hardware, the screen, in our shop there. And that also includes the firmware. Now, if you're switching over the firmware or switch over to Easy Board, you don't have to worry about firmware because we don't that one's free for everybody. So if you have the Dockeye, hang on, I got off track here. So that's for updating the stock board firmware. The color screen matters. The problem with the Easy Board with the color screens is one of the pins that the screen needs is not actually populated on the header. All the other the Big Tree Tech boards have the same thing. I think they have an adapter cable for it for the Big Tree Tech boards. I haven't messed with it. But you can't use the stock color screen with the Easy Board, whether it's from the regular V2, but anything with the color screen. So you would have to change to a 12864. Edberg says, please make a fan shroud for the Microsoft NG that has a second screw for the 5015 fan. We haven't had any issues with the single screw design. Actually, I think most of my shrouds have a single screw design for the 5015.
Yeah, I only put one screw mount on there, mostly because the other one it was way out front.
Yeah, and the reason it doesn't need two is because the actual tip of the fan locks into the mount. So once you put the screw in, it's holding it in. That's why we're not doing that. But yeah, so if you're doing an Easy Board V2 or Easy Board in there with the E3 V2 Neo, you will need to change the screen. Like I said, the only thing in terms of updating the screen is if you're keeping the stock board in there. But if you have a Dockeye, you can update the firmware on that one. I got a little off track there. I was like, wait, hang on, Easy Board. It doesn't work with the Easy Board. I should see if does Big Tree Tech sell those cables, because our LCD header pinouts I think are the same.
Pretty
on
sure
both of ours.
Do.
I don't even know what they call it though.
I'll look around for
it. I'm wondering if that cable could be used with our board too. This is a horrible name. Cable? It's called the Big Tree Tech Interface Cable Realize SKR E3 Mini V3 E3 Mini E3 Mini E3 2.0 control board compatible with Ender 3 V2 screen. God, that is a horrible fucking product name.
One more time, I didn't hear it. Can you give us that?
No, no, we're not saying they don't even have.
They have like
they don't even have the cable. They don't even have the cable like keyed. What?
It's like they put a whiteout pen on it.
Hang on, I'm pulling it up here. The single line marking indicates the direction which the plug is inserted. So they didn't even put the correct
header on it.
That's not even. Yeah. What did they do? Use whiteout?
They literally put like marker on here. Oh my God, Big Tree Tech, what are you doing? Yeah, just switch the screen.
Luke, come on, man, you're slipping.
I think this was before Luke.
Yeah, they repin. Yeah, so it is repinning it. The other thing is, this also could be achieved with some DuPont wires too. I just have to figure out the pin out and then make firmware adjustments. Honestly, like those screens are such a pain in the ass and they can't be updated half the time. I'm probably not even going to mess with it.
You don't really gain much.
No, you don't gain anything with the color screen because it's all either you're in the fancier looking mode and you're limited, or you're in basically it's the same exact options you have with the 12864, if that makes sense.
You get to change the background color of the LED.
And they did this sneaky thing that all these Chinese companies do on Amazon. They have a billion different products listed under the same listing. So it looks like this cable has really good reviews when in fact, so you see here, you got 4.3 reviews. And Amazon reviews, you can't trust Amazon reviews. They will take down legitimate reviews. My account has been banned from leaving reviews because I would post when they would send me used crap and post pictures of it. Or when I would have, like, when I would buy, before we sold solid state relays back in the day, I would buy them and I've had them catch on fire and post a picture of that. Those were against their community guidelines. So yeah, if I go to write a customer review, look at, they won't let me leave a customer review on anything.
I've had that happen where I've tried to leave reviews.
But here,
they deny the review saying it's against the community standards.
Yep,
but then
if you do it too much, if you do it too much, they just ban your account like mine.
They pull the
So
YouTube
here-
thing. They tell you, but they don't tell you what
So here,
rule
so
you broke.
you think
Yeah.
this cable has 2,300 reviews and 4.3, but really,
It's
all
every
of these
product they sell,
products, all of these products are underneath this same listing. So if I click here,
the reviews
it's
don't
still the
change.
same. It's still the same damn rating. Like, it's really kind of scummy. Like, but a lot of Chinese companies do this, not just Big Tree Tech. They're gaming the Amazon review system is what they're doing.
Amazon has
wrong
really
with that, I
turned
think.
into another Chinese marketplace.
It
They're
is.
just as bad as eBay. They're just as
Just
I
with
mean,
better
even
shipping.
Walmart, Newegg is really bad about it now.
I was thinking about this too. Like, there is a benefit of buying from us is that we are not a marketplace. We don't put anything in our shop that I have not personally used and will not actually use on my printers. Like, that's why we don't sell Big Tree Text boards, because they have too many issues. But I sell Creality's boards. They're not the best, but they work. You know, they work. They get the job done. Yeah. So shooting basically just if you're getting the Easy Board V2, get the 128/64 kit. It's the bracket, the bracket to go on the printer, and then the LCD bracket with the LCD mount. And then basically when you're in your firmware setup, set up like an Ender 3. Because at that point it basically is obviously with a BL Touch then.
And he said a Neo. So set it up with the BL Touch and the Easy Neos.
No, he had the NG.
Oh, NG.
NG, yeah. But either way, unlike the Chinese companies, we actually will give you help if you contact us.
Yeah, just send us a message.
Yeah.
Happy
And
to
also, for anybody watching, if you need general help with your printer, we do offer just general 3D printer support. So, all right.
Why don't you show them that fancy page you got set up?
Well, that's for like our, I mean, I'll plug it anyways. Mike, you'll probably like this because we were talking about like the repairs and stuff. So I finally have a page set up. And we call it our Precision Care. It sounds fancy, doesn't it? Precision Care. Is that a nice name?
I love it.
There you go. Look at, I even got stock photos. Look at, I got a screwdriver on the hot end. Look at that. You like that? Oh, hey, I got some
picture.
Hang on, hang on. I have. Let me pull it up. I made a joke one when we were taking the photos.
You need a modeling contract, you Tim. Look at that.
Hang on. You ready? You know, like the really crappy stock photos where like people are doing things completely wrong.
No,
I could hear the trigger.
How's that? How's that right there?
Like, you want to go get a laser level, Tim, right? But you want to set up a laser level and have it pointed at the printer, and then say, and then legendary status achieved.
Yes. So we do repairs. So we have it's segmented into two things. We have our essentials, which is we literally tell you what everything. This is our $120 flat rate. And basically, most people's printers they bring to us, that's what it falls under. This is everything that we will do in under that 120. Also, if you want to get upgrades installed, this is stuff that's included under that. Now, for like the Optimus P1, which is a full custom like retrofit and one-up stuff, that's our Precision Care Elite, and that's our $50 an hour. It's a billable hourly service. And look at there's the Optimus right there because that was a complete retrofit. Like it works great. I don't know if I showed you pictures of this, Mike, but this it came out great. Like we did our extruder, a hot end with a high flow block on there, dual 5015s, ABL, and I had that thing moving too. Like I sat there and tuned that thing for hours. So, but yeah, and if you click it here, it takes you right to our. You put your email in, and you can go ahead and submit us information here. It'll go right to our sales department. Which is literally just Tor and I. We're sounding so official. It's our sales department. It's Tor and
I. Right. There's a lot of people out there looking for that sort of stuff as well, and the businesses as well. They'll find you.
Yeah. So yeah, I gotta have all the keywords on there. SEO and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So the next question here is from David Hefner. He said, "Did I miss any discussion about 3D Musketeers evidence video from yesterday?" No, we didn't talk about that. We were going to save that for more of a hangout stream. How I like thumbed through it. I didn't watch it yet. I kind of wanted to like do watch party where we're all kind of in here and have the video up on the screen, and we all kind of pick it apart as we go through. Have you watched it yet, Mike?
No, what is it? Go on.
That's the log files. He finally released the log files after claiming he wasn't going to because he got death threats, apparently.
What is he, Jesse Ventura?
What?
I must not know the full story. What are they log files for?
For the bamboo.
No way.
Yeah, someone decrypted the log file, so it's like all the contents. I did hear though that like he was claiming that the whole G code was in the log file, but then he blurted out because he was printing some top secret, super secret bracket for NASA or something. So he couldn't show that. He couldn't show like part of the G code. That just for the super secret part he was printing. I think a lot of the stuff that he claims is like he's a tryhard.
Wait, is this the guy? What didn't he like really go at bamboo or something? Didn't he open the printer and he really didn't like it? But then everyone else did, and like I suppose the whole thing of that is right. I've had this when in the past with selling the printers. Actually, sometimes negative stuff can get you huge views, couldn't it? And if you're the only one slating something in a realm of everyone saying something's good, people are going to find your video. So
I had a clip here. I don't know what happened to the clip. I had a clip here where it was like him just saying it's bad.
It's bad. It's really bad.
It's bad.
And these logs aren't even sent out until you send them to.
Yeah, we'll talk about. I think that will be a good dedicated like stream. Yeah, because I didn't want to ruin it. I kind of wanted to have it be like
its own thing.
Like its own thing. So there you go. If you want to go and see his video. The problem is, and especially when he was talking about it earlier, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say before we move on to another question, is like as somebody who has worked in the tech industry for over a decade, I don't know, would you guys still count, because I do all of our in-house IT stuff here, would you guys still count at me as being in the IT industry, even though because I'm managing all our internal stuff here? We have servers and stuff we run. I manage our Office 365 deployment. I manage our websites, our entire network infrastructure.
It's an IT role, isn't it?
It's kind of a everything role. Being owner of the company, it's do whatever the hell's need to be done.
Of course.
But our IT folk would still claim you. Okay. Well, then, I've been doing IT work since I was about 16 years old, and I'm 35. So almost 20 years. So I'm the head nerd in charge. Yes, I am.
Restarting them still works, mate. Restarting a computer still works.
Have you tried turning it off and on again? That is a very much common mistake. Okay, try turning it off and on again. Okay,
turn it on and off first before you bring anyone. Yeah, that's why I always come to the conclusion.
Okay, so Peter Anderson says, "Have you ever reconsidered producing the external stepper driver?" I'm assuming he's mean for the EasyBoard V2 for the auto gantry leveling. Yeah, we did not do that because basically there was not enough interest at it would cost us at least $20 to $30 a pop to get them made. We'd have to have at least 100 people commit to them because we'd have to do a full run of them. Otherwise they'd be even more expensive. So yeah, that's basically dead in the water just because we wouldn't have enough people to buy it, and I've been burned so many times on little pet projects that I think are cool and a small handful of people think is cool, but they end up just they just end up costing me money, and I get stuck with product I can't move and end up either having to sell it at a loss or throwing it out.
And it's not something that's really needed. There's other ways to get it done.
Yeah. So Mike 81160 says, "What is the best place for a noob to find tutorials on building various types of profiles for the slicer?" I'll let you guys take this. What would you guys recommend?
Oh Mike? My God. Okay, so it depends how you're doing it. Depends on what system. The corporate system we touched on, Automaker having an open filament program, and there's a thing you can join in which it will give you a set of files to print, and the Automaker system runs you through that. In terms of sort of a less corporate system, like Bamboo, you always start with volumetric flow rate and temperature, and then you work back from there. Actually, it all depends what slicer you're using. So maybe what slicer are you using, or what software are you using to
Well,
manage your...
and this brings up an interesting thing and something I wanted to do, but I just don't have the time to dedicate to it. Is, you know, we have all these repositories for STL files and models. Why has nobody made a repository for sharing slicer profiles?
Yeah.
Like, I had a forum set up where we had it where you could upload files, and like I hosted and everything, and just nobody used it. Nobody, nobody contributed anything. Like, I posted a bunch of mine, and a couple of our other customers posted it, but like, how would we get that to get traction? Because it seems like that's like, we get a lot of people that ask about profiles, and the people, anytime I talk about my profile, people like, oh, can you send me your profile? Like, there's no real good place to share profiles.
Personally,
there's not a central place.
I actually don't like to share my profiles, just for the simple reason I was in the Creality group for ages, and I remember Chris Elkins.
I was just about to bring his name up. Actually,
he was the best.
I remember him.
Essentially the best profile maker in the groups, and he would share all his profiles tuned for the Ender 3, the CR10, what have you.
He disappeared. He fucked off. Like,
it got so bad. He left.
Yeah, I still have him. So I still have him in my phone. I don't know if he changed
I still have his profiles, actually.
Well, and that was the other part of the groups with people being dicks. Is he literally told me the reason he stopped doing it, and he sent me screenshots of people literally like going into his direct messages, like on Facebook and his Facebook messages, and bitching him out because he wouldn't help them for free with using the profiles.
There was only a few small differences in what he did. He was one of the first people to use Coast, to actually use Coast settings and actually change the retraction settings inside Simplified 3D and the Coast to end. And then there was like I can't remember Simplified 3D too much now, but there was some special things in the extraction Coast to end that he changed, in which made the retraction on anything, any external extruder like a Bowden setup, work a lot better because of the slack would be taken up. So yeah, Chris Elka, I'm glad you brought his name up, because that was one person that did back in the day when profiles didn't really exist. I think most people, there was probably a group of 100 or 200 of us, right? Like, and you remember back in those days, those groups.
I remember when it was a lot smaller.
People in. They had 400-500 people in. The CR10 groups had 400-500.
Let me see. So I think I still own the biggest Creality Facebook group. I haven't checked, but I know ours is still up there.
It's like 50 to 70,000.
Let me see, because I bought, so C3D was a guy was a company who started it. I bought out C3D a couple of years ago, and with that came all their assets. And one of those groups was it. We have 71,000 members in our Creality 3D printer user group.
Interesting to look back to, like, say
71,000
to see 2016 to see who was in there then. Be like 200-300 people.
So the reason behind me buying it, even though, like, I mean, we do market in it. I don't think we get many sales from it, but the Creality was going to buy it, and I was like, yeah, no.
It would just be littered with spam and whatnot.
Yeah, because their groups are horrible, but people still use this. Like, this group is still very active. So you can see here, there's one of my marketing posts. Oh yeah, I totally forgot. You can buy my stool samples in the TH3D shop.
No way.
Little shameless plug here. You can buy my stool samples here.
Going back to the question on profiling, though, like, I mean, most people will start with a temperature tower, change the temperature, go up 10 times, change the temperature, look for overhand settings, look for your cooling settings, try and observe. I mean, one of the reasons, one of the 3D printing industry's injuries I have, actually we talk about injuries, is I developed vertigo from 3D printing. Which is quite a strange one, but it was proven. How watching first layers for about 8 years, right, will give you vertigo, like, horrendously. So, like, now I have to be quite careful with watching first layers. When I went to the doctors, they called it like a wife's syndrome. And actually, it's quite sexist in that regard. Is when you're cleaning cupboards or looking underneath cupboards when you're cleaning the home, you can get vertigo from that sort of thing. And I contracted vertigo through 3D printing, through watching first layers and things like that. And one of the reasons why it was because when you watch a 3D print up close, you know what to change in that profile. The more and more you get used to it, you can see when a flow is too high on an outside wall, or you can see when your infill is over extruding. You can see that if you watch it up close. So
Yeah.
and maybe one of the things, Tim, maybe to as in the future for that is, you know, those like sort of high speed capillary cameras that you can get that look at the nozzle. If anyone's ever seen them, how useful they are to me now is huge, because now I can look at my first layer, or as my nozzle's extruding, I can watch that on a screen instead of having to focus on a tiny part of my build bed and look at it. So yeah, temperature towers is a really, really good place to start. Everyone remembers Daniel Noree. Let's bring out some other names here. Everyone remembers Daniel Noree.
I haven't heard that name in years.
The printer of the Benchy. I still support him on his Patreon to this day. My PayPal told me the other day, even though he hasn't done anything for about 2-3 years. But Daniel Noree is the maker of the Benchy, right? Like, and why was the Benchy created? Well,
it's a benchmark.
You know, so actually those profiles can help with that. If you run a Benchy too many times and you keep changing things on your profile, you're going to see better results. And you know what to look out for on that Benchy. And there's certain things that you look out for, which tells you everything about what's happening with your flow.
It still is a really good benchmark. Even to this day, it's still a really good benchmark.
I'm glad people still remember Daniel, because Daniel was like, again, when Chris Elkin was around and those earlier sort of people, Daniel Noree was one of the people that was sort of an influencer inside 3D printing. I'd say before the Joel Tellin really sort of rose, Daniel Noree was who I watched on YouTube, you know, and his approach to it, sort of, he was a stuntman, if I remember rightly, like. And then when he wasn't a stuntman, he was doing 3D printing. So, yeah, there was some really cool people around back in the day. But yeah, a lot of them left. They got harassed. So because they
legitimately did. It sucked.
Yeah,
like
that's why I stopped posting in the groups and stuff.
That's why I don't, because like I would have people I would help, and then some other guys argue me, and I just would delete my comments. Like, yeah, I remember why I stopped using the groups, because people are fucking assholes.
I just gave up on humanity after watching people come to me and ask box.uk for help for something so obvious, and then
we get people asking us that aren't even our customers.
When customers ask, I send them to Teaching Tech site.
Teaching Tech is really good.
He has the site set up for getting everything calibrated and tuned in, and he goes through just about everything. And I still use that to tune some of my profiles too.
Yeah. I should probably use that, because I do a lot of trial and error on the shit. I will say here, if you guys want to buy my stool, you can use the code buy my stool for 50% off. So if you're buying other stuff and you want a nice little dad joke. Why does my camera keep doing this? I don't understand why my like capture card. The hell?
Well,
like
as far as the profiles go too, I mean, I know that was I still struggle with it now, but that was a really hard thing to deal with getting into 3D printing, was where to start.
Well, because your profile is just as important as having the printer built correctly. If you have a shit profile, your printer is going to print like shit, regardless of there's nothing wrong with it.
And the communities are like you guys pointed out earlier. The communities are very toxic. Discord,
I know Tim, Facebook, a lot of them.
And it's not. I know, Tim, you like to point out Voron, and it's. I have a Voron. I like my Voron, but it's hard to deny that. Yeah, that's a community that's very toxic. The Clipper can be very toxic. They're actually part of the reason why I moved to Clipper. Yeah, we all know why.
Well, they're all just very like they, I don't get how, like, if you had somebody help you out, why either shut up or help somebody else out, like, instead of just being dicks.
Well, and it's a community-based project too, so wouldn't it be beneficial to continue to grow that community as opposed to, okay, now you got your base community and now you're alienating people. I don't know. It makes no sense to be
Well,
shitty
honestly,
towards
the reason I haven't done anything, or not anything, but I haven't done much with Clipper is because of their community, and I don't know if it's gotten any better. Like I just never came back. I left and never came back. Like first it was like the mods, you know, and I had somebody asking there before, like the print it forward thing was like actually, you know, they had enough people. There was someone asked me and they got pissed off because I was like, well, I've got a print farm if you want to shoot me a message, and they got pissed off. You can't make any money off of selling anything. And I was like, okay, fucking neckbeards. I was like, okay, you could have just told me and I wouldn't have posted like anything. But I had somebody asking me about printing stuff in ABS. I was like, I literally have like 30 printers sitting here, you know.
I always used to say that 3D printing, and I can speak for myself when I say this actually. So I used to say that 3D printing attracts those on the spectrum very well.
I think they do. I mean, I'm on the spectrum.
I am as well. So I know it does. But like, if you look at like the people that are in these groups, I mean,
the social communications are not great,
and that's part of the reason why,
especially on text,
on the corporate side, is because you get some really intelligent people that cannot talk to a door, let alone a person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I've had a hard time. I mean, it's taken me a long time to get to where I'm even at today, and I'm still not perfect at it. You know, like dealing with customers, especially when we get people that are just being unreasonable, is really, really hard and taxing for me. Like, you know, like it really sucks, you know. But I've had to learn. I've learned, you know, definitely changed quite a bit over the last 6-7 years. You know, in terms of dealing with, and you know, it just took repetition, you know, but if you never get practice, you're never going to improve, you know. But the other thing too, I found is a lot of these people that will be complete assholes to you, because we see them at the events. A lot of them are either too much of a chicken shit to even talk to you in person, or if they do, they will not treat you the same way in person, you know, or even over a video call. Yeah, or even over a video call as they do over text. You know, it's just, I think it's just a combination of the lack of social skills coupled with you're just, you know, behind the keyboard, so to speak. And you know, it's the other reason why, you know, like think about Reddit. Reddit's primarily text-based communication, and Reddit is one of the worst fucking communities on the internet in terms of toxicity. Like worse than Discord, worse than Facebook. Like I'll go on, I have an account that's just like some random username, just because like I'll go scroll through some of the community, like the community, just to see like, you know, a lot of the home automation stuff and whatnot. And I don't even think I have any of the 3D printer stuff. Cause like, it's just so fucking toxic, you know? And my whole thing is like, I used to spend a lot of time in the Facebook groups just helping people out. And then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And so you have people who are knowledgeable like myself and Chris Elkins and all these other people that just said, fuck you guys, I'm done. You're not worth my time anymore. Mm-hmm. Like you guys are adding nothing but negativity in my life. I'm just trying to help out and, you know, be a nice person. You guys are being fucking assholes. I don't have to deal with this. I'm gone. You know?
And I think a lot of those people that sort of left that grew businesses into helping people in more of a way that they could manage rather than something that's more wildfire. It's like putting out wildfire, you know. And actually, well, I mean, if you can channel that, then actually you can deal with it quite well. But if it's just hellfire online and you can't really see the light through the trees, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the thing is too, like if you look at our reviews and like we have tons of great reviews and everybody comments about like how great our support is and everything. And the thing is like, you know, I also found like even, well, okay, Torque, don't hurt yourself patting yourself on the back. You do a great job though. I mean, you are literally my first hire and you're still like one of the original people that's been around, you know, even through all the shit we've been through the last couple of years. He has survived. Where was I going with this? But yeah, I mean, like, we found even just like charging a little bit, like even for like the firmware, you know, just charging a little bit for the firmware, which we had to do, is either we had to charge something for it because it takes up time to test. It takes up time to keep, you know, hosting all the files and keeping it updated. Like before, like we still get our occasional asshats, But in general, the amount of people we've had that have been more pleasant, like has gone up since we started charging something for it. I did notice if you're charging stuff, if you're giving away stuff for free, you get a lot of entitled idiots that will demand your time, whether they actually paid you anything or are willing to pay you anything, even if it's just like a small little, like we saw for $5. It's enough to weed out some of the people that are just insufferable people to deal with, that will never have any intention of actually wanting to sit down and, buy an hour of your time to sit down and help them with their printer, because that's what you're doing, right? My whole thing is I'm not going to take away from my customers who have paid for my time from somebody who's just wanting to be a freeloader that doesn't want to, pay me for my time, because my time is valuable.
Do you remember that?
All of our time is valuable.
Do you remember before you charged for that sort of stuff? And there was that Russian guy that ripped off all your stuff. Do you remember his name? I can't remember his
Russian
name.
guy?
The one that came up with his own sensor.
No, that was a UK guy.
That was
one of your people. Yeah, no, he's long gone. And the funny thing was, he was so fly by night. Just to fuck with him, I bought his domain name because it lapsed and he forgot to renew it. And this is how. Here's the thing: if one of my domain names lapsed, I would know like instantly if it did. But I'm not an idiot. I have everything on auto renew. But he got super pissed off because he was like screwing with me and being a pain in the ass. He tried poaching our sensor supplier, but we had an exclusive agreement with them to not like sell our tech that we worked on with them, because he literally just was like, because we didn't get off the shelf sensors. We had to work with them to make adjustments to make them work with the printers better.
They reached out to us and like, hey, do you know
they're like,
guy?
Hey, this guy, they literally gave me his full name, his address and everything. They're like, do you know this guy? I was like, oh yeah, I do. Don't sell to him or I will take my business elsewhere. And we have this agreement. And they're like, okay. We just want to make sure. They're like, well, we're just going to sell them our standard sensor. Like, that's fine with me. But like anything else like that we've customized, no. But yeah, I bought his domain name, and then he got on Twitter and whined and cried, and the people were like getting all pissy. And I was like, I bought domain name. It's not like I tricked him. I bought it. He was an idiot and let it lapse. And then finally I was like, you know what? Just pay the fucking transfer. You can have the domain name. So he did, and he got it back, and he kind of half-assed a website on it. And then it lapsed and I bought it again. So I've got it from him twice now. And for a while, the reason I bought it was I actually had he went out of business. And a lot of his customers came to us. And the big thing too is when he launched his kits, he was directing people to our website for firmware and support. And then people were getting pissed saying like, I bought your kit. And I'm like, no, you fucking didn't. We don't sell on eBay. Like, because this guy only sold on eBay. I was like, we don't sell on eBay. I was like, I'll help you with his kit, but you're paying us. And then they were getting all pissed off. And he got pissed off that I was telling his customers, go fucking pound sand or pay us for our time. And I told him straight up, like, how about you support your fucking customers, you piece of shit? Like,
yeah, but he's a sheer example of someone with no knowledge that tries to copy knowledge will never really get far in this industry.
So he had knowledge of the printers, really, though, but he was lazy. He was lazy. He literally at one point was just taking our firmware, doing a find and replace, removing anything that said TH3D, putting his company name in it, and then removing anything that said Easy ABL and just changing it to ABL. That's how lazy it was.
Or whatever it was.
Yeah. So, and like, come to find out, like he originally was claiming that he had his claim to fame for a little bit was the ANET printers. And I later found out that the Skynet firmware that he was pushing wasn't even something he did. It was some other random guy that he just took it over and was calling it as his own.
Crazy.
Yeah, there's been quite a bit of drama on the back end of things. Hang on. We do have to wrap this up. I think I have this one more question here, and this is a quick one. It's from that Scooney guy again. He said he's got a screw-in thermistor. It's said to be good at 300C. So if it's good for 300C, that's fine. And he said if the EasyBoard, does it work with a filament sensor? Yeah, it does. It works. You can add it on when you purchase it. It's like a couple of bucks, and it just plugs right in. So the EasyBoard supports filament sensors. It supports even like if you want to do NeoPixels for adding lights to your printer. We have our Easy Neos. It's a plug and play setup. So, but I am getting yelled at to wrap this up. We are at the 2-hour mark though, which is where we usually want to cut this off. So
yeah,
Michael, Tor, Mike, Emerson, do you guys have anything else to add?
No, I just wanted to say just say thank you for having me on. And if anyone wants to talk about the sort of business side, then I'd be more than happy to help anyone if they're looking to consult like we are in their area for corporate people like us. Just like you're looking at doing, Tim, we're more than happy to show you how we've done it and give you a roadmap so that you can start charging some of these corporate people with these alt makers some money to go help them out. We can help you do that. I'm more than happy to help anyone in a non-toxic
look
way.
at this like super professional website. Looks so sick.
No, obviously the fishy filaments there. Obviously, big shout out.
I saw that.
Filament made.
Look at you're Mr. Where's your fancy podcast set up here, Mike?
Well, we did the Mike 3D channel, and we ran it for about 4 or 5 months. We got a couple thousand subscribers, and I kind of got a little bit frustrated with creating content, which was I could sell.
It's a lot of work.
So, yeah, the more and more I was doing the YouTube, the more and more my consultancy business would have failed because I was giving away all the information on our YouTube. So I stopped doing that.
That's understandable.
But yeah, no.
Hey,
right.
I do have something to ask when you're done. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought you were done. Sorry.
Yeah, go on. Go for it.
Well, it's not just me. There's been several people on top of myself. Your chair. Lots of people love your chair. Where did you get that chair?
It's a Fallout chair, yeah. So it's made by Noble. Made by Noble. Yeah, it's so if I'm ever AFK, then there's always someone saying hello, you know. So, yeah.
Right at the start of the stream, people are like, "Is that a Fallout chair?" I was like, "I've been wanting to say something."
I just linked to them the Noble chairs.
Right,
hey, Noble.
Yeah, Noble, really good chairs. Actually, really comfy, but expensive as fuck. It's really.
It's probably not as expensive as the one I'm sitting in. I paid way too much for mine. I have an Aeron. It was like $1,400.
Yeah, okay, so it's not that expensive.
No, I love my Aeron though. It's a good farting chair, as my buddy who used to work for me said, because it's the mesh, you know. Just goes. Which, speaking of farting, this dog, this whole time, I thought I got up because I had to check. I thought they had to poop because it smells like he's pooped on the floor. His fart smells so bad.
Yeah, no. Thank you for having me on, Tim. It's been
no, it's great to have you on.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed. Did everybody enjoy this?
Yeah, very nice to meet you, Mike.
We gotta give the dogs their treats.
Yeah.
I don't want my cats in here because I have my food.
Yeah, they're gonna try to take your food. Can you speak? Yeah, there you go. You can have your food. There you go. Here's your treats.
Hey, Mike.
Oh my God, it's so bad. They just did again. I'm being gassed out in here.
Those lampshades on your website now are those vase mode or are those multi-walled? I mean, those are beautiful.
I'll put in the private. So one of the clients that we make them for. I just put a link in the private chat there, Tim. For you to
do you want me to share that out?
Yeah, you can share that out. That's one of the clients that we make these lampshades for. You can see.
Oh wow.
Some of them are they're all made from plastics from around us. So whether it be recycled fishing net or recycled PETG.
That's pretty cool.
Wow.
They do look pretty.
The soft sea green ones, the fishing
net. That looks familiar. Yeah, I recognize that color.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're it's all plastic bottles or fishing net, but that's one of the products that we've had a huge success with in a vertical market in the UK. And you see
that's a niche. That's a nice little niche you got there.
Yeah, it works well. And Philips, I'd like to say Philips copied me, but I don't think I can openly say that. I can openly say that, but I did. But I did.
Depends how deep are your pockets.
I did consult with Philips before they came up with a lampshade. Let's put it that way. There we go. Yeah, that's enough.
I posted a link to the site in chat. If you guys see it, that's soholighting.com, the Ocean Collection. So, all right. I'm going to see what's going on. We might do, I'm going to ping. I want to do at least one hangout stream, either like tonight if Chris doesn't want to do anything, or this weekend, getting some Clipper action going in here.
Yeah.
That or the what's it called?
The
The
SVO5?
logs.
Oh, the logs. We could do both. We can work on we can work on those while we're critiquing the
log
logs.
files,
So
the nothing burger.
but all right, I appreciate Tor, Mike. Thank you for coming on. This was a blast.
Cheers,
So,
guys.
Emerson has been. Do you guys like having Emerson on? Should we keep him around? Also, if you guys are, if you're watching this live or you're, a content creator, you got a decent webcam and stuff, let me know. Fun fact, Emerson, I didn't know this until he told me. He's actually using the cameras we sell for the printers as his webcam right now.
I am. It's
Some product advertisement right there, Tim.
Right.
It's really good. I mean, they have good sensors, but I was like, oh, it's a webcam. It works on computers. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now don't judge. It doesn't come over on the stream as well as it does, because I'm kind of looking at the stream too, as it does on the live stream side, which we can see. I'm running on Starlink, so
Your connection's been great.
yeah, I'm very surprised that it's held up this way. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, everybody. I hope you guys all have a good weekend. Mike, thanks again for coming on. I will be in touch. So I've been just running around like a chicken with my head cut off lately. So
Yeah, mate. Always there.
but anyways, it was great having you on. If you ever want to come back, let me know. I can always
for sure.
bring you in. So we can have up to 10 people on here. So yeah, madhouse. maybe we can have a stream where we go through the Facebook groups and try to fix people's problems.
That would be really fun, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give them some actual good advice.
Some really funny aliases. And
Ron John. I want to be Ron Johnson. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to be Chris Elkin.
No one will get the reference. All right. And I see, Tor, I just realized you're wearing the Prusa knockoff shirt. I don't even know where mine went. But all right, everybody, I will see you guys later. Thank you for watching. And as always, happy printing. I'm gonna end the stream right now.